Have you ever shared something personal with family, only to wish you hadn't? As we age, we learn that some stories are better kept private. Why? Because choosing silence can protect our peace, strengthen relationships, and preserve dignity. Today, I'll reveal 5 key areas where it's wise to hold back, not out of secrecy, but for wisdom's sake. You'll see how guarding certain details can lead to deeper respect and stronger connections with your loved ones. Stay tuned. These insights might just transform how you communicate with your family. If you're watching from your city, comment below and tell us where you're joining from. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more timeless advice. 1. Guarding your past mistakes. As we age, it's natural to want to share the stories that shaped us. The lessons from our victories and failures often feel like gifts we're eager to pass on to those we love. We hope these stories will guide them, sparing them from the pain we once endured. Yet, not every lesson from our past serves this purpose as we expect. Sometimes, sharing certain experiences, particularly painful mistakes, can backfire in surprising ways. Take Mr. Lawrence, for instance. A retired craftsman with decades of experience, he once put his trust into a business partnership that ended in betrayal. The financial loss was severe, forcing him into years of rebuilding his life piece by piece. For years, he kept this painful chapter private, using the quiet resolve it nurtured as a foundation for his later successes. Then one day, he decided to share his story with his granddaughter. She had reached an age where he believed hearing his experience might prepare her for life's uncertainties. As he recounted the betrayal and his arduous path to recovery, he hoped to see her absorb the lesson. But instead of admiration, her expression turned to worry and a flicker of pity. That brief moment shifted something inside Mr. Lawrence. Rather than inspiring his granddaughter, the story left him feeling vulnerable, as if an old wound had been exposed. In her eyes, he saw concern that made him question whether sharing had been wise. Mr. Lawrence's experience revealed a profound truth. Not every part of our journey needs to be shared to be meaningful. While honesty can build connections, recounting certain painful memories can alter how others see us. Sometimes, the lessons we mean to impart are lost amid the emotions they provoke, shifting their perception from seeing our strength to focusing on our past regrets. When younger family members view us through this lens, the admiration they once felt may be subtly tinged with pity or uncertainty. This is why selective silence can be an act of wisdom, not secrecy. It's a choice to preserve the quiet dignity that comes from moving beyond our past while still embodying the resilience gained from it. Instead of diving into the full details of every misstep, a few thoughtful words like, "I learned to trust carefully," can convey the lesson without unveiling the pain. Choosing what stories to hold close doesn't mean ignoring who we were or hiding our past. It means guiding our loved ones from a place of enduring strength. By being mindful of what we share, we protect our sense of self and the respect we've built. It's a subtle act that allows us to continue inspiring others, showing that the greatest wisdom sometimes lies not in what we reveal, but in what we choose to keep within. 2. Keeping minor health concerns private. As the years pass, it becomes almost second nature to share the small changes we notice in our health. Whether it's the ache that lingers after a walk or the restless nights that seem to come more frequently, these details often slip into conversation. Sharing these minor ailments may feel harmless, even comforting, as it invites support from those who care about us. But what we often overlook is how these mentions can shift the way our family sees us, turning everyday exchanges into sources of concern or even anxiety. Mrs. Eleanor, a retired school teacher with a spirited outlook on life, loved spending her days tending to her garden and enjoying visits from her grandchildren. One afternoon, she casually mentioned to her daughter over tea that her knees had been feeling particularly stiff. The response was immediate and heartfelt. Eleanor's daughter, driven by love and worry, began researching treatments and suggesting everything from new exercises to medical appointments. What started as a simple conversation grew into a series of well-intentioned interventions that left Eleanor feeling something she hadn't expected: a loss of independence. Soon, Eleanor realized that even the smallest mention of discomfort led to an overwhelming wave of solutions and check-ins from her family. Their genuine care, though deeply appreciated, made her feel as if she were being seen as fragile rather than resilient. This subtle shift in perception affected the way she was treated in day-to-day life, making her long for the days when her family viewed her as capable and strong. Reflecting on this, Eleanor made a conscious choice. She decided that instead of sharing every minor ache, she would focus on the moments that highlighted her joy and resilience. When her daughter asked how she was feeling, Eleanor talked about the flowers she'd planted or the new book she was engrossed in. By doing so, she steered conversations toward the vibrant aspects of her life, subtly reshaping how her family saw her. Not as someone defined by discomfort, but as a woman full of life and passion. The lesson here is clear. Sharing minor health issues can unintentionally place loved ones in a state of worry and shift their focus to caretaking. By holding back on these small details, we allow our family to see our enduring strength and independence. This doesn't mean ignoring genuine health concerns that need attention, but being selective in what we share helps maintain a sense of autonomy. In choosing to highlight the positive, we create a space where we and our loved ones can enjoy each other's company without a shadow of concern, fostering connections built on shared happiness and mutual respect. 3. Unfulfilled dreams, cherishing them internally. As we move through life, most of us carry dreams that never came to be, plans that were cherished but left unrealized due to choices, responsibilities, or simple twists of fate. It's natural to look back and wonder what could have been. Sharing these stories, however, can sometimes bring unintended reactions from loved ones, sparking confusion or pity when we only sought connection. Mr. James, a retired mechanic with hands that once built engines and a heart that once longed to play music, knew this feeling well. In his youth, he had poured all his energy into saving for his first guitar, spending countless nights learning chords by candlelight and dreaming of the stage. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Marriage, fatherhood, and the steady work needed to support a family shifted his path away from that dream. Yet, even in his 70s, the memory of that passion still stirred something within him. One evening, James shared this chapter of his life with his teenage grandson, hoping to illustrate that it's okay to dream deeply, even if not all dreams materialize. The grandson listened intently, but Mr. James noticed an unexpected reaction, a mix of confusion and sadness, as though he were glimpsing a version of his grandfather he hadn't known, a man with an unfulfilled longing. Rather than feeling inspired, the boy appeared burdened by the story, as if seeing the unfulfilled dream cast a shadow over the life his grandfather had led. It was then that Mr. James realized that while his dream remained a cherished part of who he was, sharing it didn't bring the closeness he intended. Instead, it introduced an emotional distance rooted in his grandson's concern. He understood that these dreams, while beautiful, are sometimes best kept close, treasured as silent reminders of who we were and how we grew. The importance of holding some dreams privately is not about concealing disappointment, but about recognizing the personal nature of longing. Some dreams can be tender parts of our inner world, shaping who we are without needing validation or understanding from others. By cherishing these dreams quietly, We preserve their significance without casting a shadow over the relationships that matter most. Mr. James chose to share stories that showcased his resilience, like mastering his craft as a mechanic and the pride he felt in supporting his family. In doing so, he created an image of strength and fulfillment, allowing his grandson to see a life rich with purpose, even if it wasn't exactly as once imagined. This choice showed that not every dream needs to be realized or shared to have meaning. Some can be private treasures that teach us to value the journey itself. 4. Avoiding expressions of family disappointment. As we watch our loved ones carve out their paths, it's only natural to carry hopes and dreams for them. These expectations come from a place of deep love, shaped by our own experiences and values. However, when those paths diverge from what we envisioned, the temptation to express our concerns can be strong. While we may intend to guide and protect, these words can sometimes create a rift, making our loved ones feel unsupported or judged. Mrs. Amelia, a retired librarian, was familiar with this struggle. She had spent her life teaching her children the importance of security and stability, emphasizing careers that offered predictability and safety. Her daughter, however, had different plans, an entrepreneurial spirit that thrived on risk and innovation. Amelia's heart tightened with worry as she imagined her daughter facing potential financial setbacks or struggles that she had tried so hard to prevent. Eventually, out of concern, she voiced her reservations, suggesting that her daughter consider a more secure job path. Amelia thought her words were gentle and supportive, a reminder of her daughter's well-being. But to her daughter, those words felt like doubt. It stung to think that her mother didn't fully believe in her vision or her ability to succeed. The conversation left an unspoken gap between them, one that colored their interactions with a hint of tension. Amelia quickly noticed the change and felt a pang of regret. What she intended as a loving warning was received as a lack of confidence in her daughter's choices. Reflecting on this, Amelia decided to shift her approach. Instead of expressing her concerns, she chose to offer silent support. She listened to her daughter talk about her plans, celebrated her small wins, and stood by her during the inevitable challenges without critique. With time, this new way of showing love brought them closer. Her daughter felt seen and accepted, free to share her journey without fear of judgment. Amelia found a quiet pride in watching her daughter's resilience and determination unfold, learning that love can be expressed through patience and trust. The strength in silent support lies in recognizing that each person's path is their own to walk. When we withhold expressions of disappointment, we allow our loved ones the freedom to explore, make mistakes, and grow into their own potential. This choice creates a nurturing environment where relationships are built on unconditional love, not weighted by unmet expectations. Family members feel encouraged to share their dreams, triumphs, and struggles, knowing they have a safe space where they are accepted as they are. Ultimately, showing love through silent support fosters a bond that goes beyond words. It reassures our loved ones that while their choices may be different from our own, they are trusted, supported, and cherished. And in that quiet space, true connections flourish, strengthened by the understanding that love need not always speak to be deeply felt. 5. Keeping personal plans for assets confidential. Discussing assets and inheritance plans often feels like a responsible step, a way to reassure family that their future is secure. Yet, such conversations can have unintended effects, shifting focus from love and shared moments to material concerns. When these plans are revealed too soon or in too much detail, relationships may take on an undertone of expectation or rivalry, impacting the harmony that should be at the heart of a family. Mr. Robert, a retired banker with a modest estate, believed that discussing his plans early would bring peace of mind to his two sons. He gathered them one evening and explained how his assets would be divided, thinking it would foster appreciation and trust. Initially, they listened respectfully, expressing gratitude for his transparency. However, over time, Robert noticed a subtle change. Questions about his investments and subtle suggestions about financial decisions became more common. Family gatherings began to feel less spontaneous, as if every interaction was tinted with an underlying conversation about inheritance. What Robert intended as a gesture of love turned into a source of quiet tension. Recognizing this shift, Robert decided to take a different path. He stopped sharing details about his estate and worked closely with a trusted advisor to finalize his plans privately. Conversations with his sons returned to stories, laughter, and shared experiences, free from the weight of financial discussions. The simple act of keeping these plans private allowed their time together to be centered on connection and genuine affection rather than future expectations. Maintaining confidentiality about personal plans for assets is not about hiding things. It's about protecting the family's focus on what truly matters. By holding these details until the appropriate time, you help ensure that relationships remain rooted in mutual respect and love, untouched by the complications that wealth discussions can introduce. This choice preserves the natural warmth and unity within a family, fostering a legacy built on shared experiences rather than financial planning. Ultimately, family bonds are strengthened when the emphasis remains on the love, wisdom, and support shared today. The peace that comes from prioritizing these values leaves an enduring legacy far more meaningful than any asset ever could. Selective sharing is a powerful practice that upholds respect, inner peace, and strong family bonds. By choosing what to disclose and what to keep private, we maintain the dignity of our experiences and foster deeper connections with those we love. Whether it's past mistakes, minor health issues, unfulfilled dreams, feelings of disappointment, or plans for assets, knowing when to remain silent can preserve our independence and the warmth within our relationships. Reflect on what stories or details you might keep close to your heart, not out of secrecy, but as an act of wisdom and love. Your legacy will be shaped not just by what you share, but by the strength and peace that radiates from what you hold within. If you found these insights helpful, let me know by commenting below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected for more reflections and advice.